Alright. Now that the obligatory I'll be in and out bypasser has come and gone, can finally do some GT Online in the PS4 because I'm kind of low on money on there, so a good excuse to play in that version, I guess. Unfortunately, it takes a while for the PS4 version to boot up, so I'll just wait a couple minutes, I guess. Had a pretty productive day on the XCOM. People want to argue me over bullshit. I really hate how XCOM or whatever makes it so that you can't like link stuff from the URL. You have to like put it on Notepad or something and then link it. It's fucking stupid. Let me try to find another response, and I'm pretty much done with this crap. I actually have some fuel for my latest tangent, which is going to be about the new Tony Hawk game, believe it or not. But it's not just because of fucking Doomslayer. I could really give two fucks about that. Though that means I'm going to have to actually record footage for that, and even the PlayStation port of Pro Skater 4. I have to find a quote that I quote tweeted or whatever. Oh, I think this person actually blocked me after that post. That's funny. That's really funny. About the Advance Wars bit. That's funny. Let's see. Let me try to find it. Because I know I did like a quote, or I retweeted it, I guess. Because it actually made a lot of sense. I think I might have quote tweeted it, but it's definitely something that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'm gonna respond to this shit and then I'm done. I'm tired of fucking arguing with nimwits who think they're hot shit. But yeah, I basically quote tweeted someone mentioning how the graphics for Unleashed are like just really good. Or okay, I'm not going to be completely disingenuous. They mentioned how the Unleashed was the last mainline Sonic game where I really felt like it could compete with other big games visually. And my biggest takeaway is that graphics in the game don't mean shit if the game doesn't hold up. And I know for a fact that despite Unleashed coming out after Sonic 06, that its gameplay was pretty good compared to that. It wasn't a buggy piece of shit. But I also know that the game itself, at least on the Xbox 360 and PS3 version, had these sun and moon medals that made it really annoying to go through. Now, obviously, if you're collecting them like you're supposed to, it's not that bad. But if you're just trying to go from level to level, it gets kind of annoying that you're boosting around at the speed of sound. You missed one medal that you had to go back and replay, and I doubt it's like other games where simply collecting them is enough and you don't have to, like, restart or whatever. Let me get this shit off the screen. And I have to adjust the Elgato, excuse me. Here we go. But, like, no one's stopping people from enjoying Sonic Unleashed. I can see why people really like the game. It was really the first game of its kind to introduce the boosting formula. It had other mechanics that people like. It has a story that's interesting, I guess. That's probably the worst word to use. Like, compared to Sonic 06, you could argue that Sega really redeemed themselves, like, legit, after the disaster that was Sonic 06. The main problem, though, is that they make you collect these medals in a game that's not even a collectathon, and it just slows the game down to a crawl. It's just bad design. And even now, someone basically saying that the medals take no skill to collect. Well, I'm sorry that just because a thing that you can learn is bad doesn't mean that the whole thing is bad or whatever. Like, it's just fucking stupid. But yeah, I'm going to try to do some money tactics, I guess, because I guess the money that I spent getting the, what the hell is it, the fucking hangar and the other one or whatever, I'm kind of low on funds, so I'm going to basically try to catch up, I guess. Do some of the usual shit. The fuck, that wasn't him? It's this dude? Well, there you go. But yeah, I'm just gonna head to the usual places, I guess, and just try to hopefully get some good funds, I guess. I don't know if I'm able to do a nightclub sell mission. I might, but I'm not 100% certain. I'm definitely gonna be doing a um an acid lab cell mission because I haven't done one of those in a while. So maybe I might get lucky. Let's see. I guess I can wait a couple minutes, I guess. Hopefully I get lucky with the wall safe increasing while I respawn one last time. Tark, how would I rate Twisted Metal? Are you talking about the TV show, or are you talking about the games? I think I might have seen you around before. I'm not 100% certain. The games? Okay, let's see. Well, I pretty much enjoy all of them, really. I even played through the Twisted Metal 1 and 2, both PS4 and the PS5 version, because I have a bit of nostalgia for them. I know some people don't like going back to those because they kind of aged like milk, which to be fair they did, but they're still fun to play. I even like Twisted Metal 3 and 4 despite the fact that the stories are ridiculously campy and shit. They're also one of the few games that actually let you do 4-player split screen and isn't hampered by graphic fidelity. Even Twisted Metal 1 and 2 to a point had certain levels cut down if you were playing in split screen mode. I guess to be fair though, only Twisted Metal 2 had the one with the rooftop level, and I think in Twisted Metal 1 half the levels were literally cut down. The freeway, the park, and you only get to play in the canal. And that was thankfully fixed in Twisted Metal 2's 2-player mode. Though you had to input a cheat code to play on there. Which was kind of weird, but it was kind of a cool throwback. I really wish they included the original tracks though, because as much as Twisted Metal 2 does have some great tunes, I kind of prefer Drop Dead as the rooftop level. And that's also why it was remixed in Twisted Metal Black. Though it strangely plays in the suburbs and not in the rooftop level. But, I can really play it even really not really be bored. The only one I have a slight problem with, and it's a big slight, like sleight of hand, is that Twisted Metal Head-On wants to be a sequel to Twisted Metal 2. Even though there's a lot of stories in the game that just doesn't make any sense. And I really hate how, assuming David Jaffe was involved with Twisted Metal Head-On, that he basically replaced Minion with Cousin Eddie. Like, people want to give so much shit to Twisted Metal 3 and 4, but I think replacing one of the catalysts of Twisted Metal as a whole with a hick who actually does get around Calypso's wishes is kind of stupid. I think I ranted about it before, but it would have been an absolute perfect end if you beat the game with Cousin Eddie and the ending goes on by normal, and then while you hear Cousin Eddie driving in his shiny RV, wherever you hear him like playing a song that's in like Twisted Metal 3 and 4, I guess. This is a jab to those games, I guess. and you hear a sound of a bomb ticking, and it goes off, and you hear Calypso laughing in the background, and you hear his classical quote of, "I am Calypso, and I thank you for playing Twisted Metal." Now, that would have been perfect if they really had to ditch Minion in that aspect. I don't know if he says it in Twisted Metal head-on, but I generally do not like Cousin Eddie. Probably one of the worst official Tekken. No. Probably one of the worst Twisted Metal drivers and characters of all time. Mainly because he replaced Minion, and I am not okay with that. I don't know, to be honest. I know that there was a Sonic Unleashed recompilation port, so maybe will someone do justice with Twisted Metal on PS3 and maybe give people a playable version of that. I really wish the game did get ported to PS4, PS5 at least. The racing levels definitely sucked, but... Okay, I'm not going to act like they were the best additions. Come on, they were fucking garbage. And I don't think anybody likes them. I don't think David Jaffe likes them. It's like that game's version of the Bed of Chaos. But I still like the game. I really wish they had a more proper story mode, though. I didn't like that they replaced the traditional level-to-level progression with story and then only having 3 stories for the characters. Playing the game Untwisted wasn't really that fun, but I did binge through the Twisted Metal show while doing exactly that. Though unfortunately I had to go for the game with the Juggernaut and Talon mainly to get the par times needed. I actually read something about how there was going to be another Twisted Metal game, but it was going to be a live service game and they completely canned it. Probably for the best, to be honest. Because from what it looked like, it was going to be a shit show. And I know that David Jaffe himself greenlit some sort of third-person game that was online only and shit, so it was probably for the best, to be honest. I know Sega's doing the same shit with Crazy Taxi, so any live service game based on a classic IP is just doomed to fail. So I think the best that we have right now is being able to buy Twisted Metal 1 and 2 on the PS4 and PS5. You can also technically get Twisted Metal Black, but I know that there's not a native PS5 port, unfortunately, so no proper HD, I guess, if you want to call it that. I don't really like buying the games I already had way back then, but I guess with Twisted Metal, I'll make an exception. And they also have Rewind as well, which makes some of the trophies a little easier to get, I guess. I definitely use them for some of the levels, because the original Twisted Metal games are pretty difficult. But I definitely had fun playing them. Alright, let's hope I don't get ambushed by Talon here. Honestly, with how Sony is handling a lot of their IPs, I highly doubt they're going to really make another good one. I mean, people got Demon's Souls Remastered, and people hated it because it didn't have the same graphical style that the original game did. Which is kind of stupid, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend it was perfect. A lot of the changes in there were really dumb. But I say it was pretty faithful, and especially compared to what Sony offers today, I say it's still worth getting a PS5 for. And if it does come to PC, then, well, shit. Like, I don't think the people who made Demon's Souls on PS5 pulled what Horizon Zero Dawn did or whatever. The characters still look like characters. The gameplay still plays like Demon's Souls. There are some changes for the better, but there's also some changes for the worst. But I wouldn't inherently call it a bad game. And it's actually extremely generous compared to the remasters and remakes we've gotten as of late. I'm still going to classify it as a remaster with huge graphical upgrades, since it's more or less the same game with some changes that make it different, but I wouldn't say it completely overhauled the game like with Capcom's Resident Evil remakes. Not like Ratchet and Clank was any better. I didn't like the 2016 game, and I really hated playing through Rift Apart. I really hate how they did the voice actor of Invader Zim a disservice in that game. I think it was also the voice of Billy from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Very talented voice actor, but my god, they made him sound so insufferable that it makes me sad. If you're talking about Twisted Metal 2012 and you're doing the game on a fresh run, it technically is. But I know that if you've gone for the game the first time and at least unlock Juggernaut and Talon, it is mostly doable. But I wouldn't say it's a walk in the park either. Especially with the sniper rifle weapons and the boss fights, which can prove to be legitimately challenging. You can't even use anyone else with Iron Maiden because you need that DPS to get the times. And the fact that the game does not give you any checkpoints too, which is complete nonsense, but I'll at least give it credit that it shows that you're playing in a harder difficulty. But I still think it was kind of overkill. I think the part time is at least generous enough, but you really need to have a DPS character like Grim. I tried it with Darkseid, it didn't work. I tried it with other characters, it didn't work. I tried the Vermin dude. Like, Grim is like the only character who can do both DPS or whatever with his chainsaw, and also being a small character can load what the hell is it? The faction leader quickly. So you really can't use anyone else because you need damage and you gotta do it quickly because it's on hard mode or twisted, whatever. There's actually a hard mode, but it's not the hardest, if that makes sense. But strangely, it actually felt pretty satisfying to learn all the ins and outs. My favorite Twisted Metal. Shit, that's a hard one, honestly. I could be a normie and say Twisted Metal Black. But I know some people don't like the game because it doesn't have the colorful environments. Even even Small Ball was pretty good. I say it was a pretty decent spin-off to the genre. Though it probably hampered it because it was a PlayStation 1 game. And not to mention that there was technically going to be an ending for Axel, but I guess the developers thought having a game making fun of a crippled person would have been too harsh. Which is kind of dumb, but I'm not going to really get into that. I don't want to go too political right now. I know Twisted Metal 4 has a very simple and kind of lackluster but still ultimately unique car creator. And the voices in there are just godlike. Mess with the best, die like the rest. Is that crying out here? And the license music for Twisted Metal 3 and 4 were pretty on point. I say 4 is a little better because it actually made the car combat not as shitty. That you can actually play as all the bosses. Unlike Twisted Metal 3 where they won't let you play as Darkseid and even Primeval, despite the fact that they're both perfectly playable if you use Game Shark or some shit. And also having to turn off the main menu, which it's kind of cool because if you have it turned off, you can actually see like an instant replay of your battles. It's kind of like when you're playing Doom or Doom 2, whatever, and you see like the demos in the background. It really reminds me of that. And what I say is the shittiest. I wouldn't say it's an inherently bad Twisted Metal game. But if we want to talk about the spin-offs, I definitely argue that that submarine game was pretty bad. I know there are other car combat games like Rogue Trip, which you could essentially consider a real twist metal thing to some people. GTA is going perfectly fine. I got extra guests to keep me company, so things are going pretty alright right now. We're chatting up about Twisted Metal. Feel free to add on or add in your own discussion. No matter to me. But if we want to count the games as single track made, I say the only really bad one is that sub-vehicular combat game. I say that one is pretty bad. Mainly because unlocking the characters is just not fun, and it's just a very convoluted game of its kind. Rogue Trip really went back to basics. I think that came out after, which is kind of weird. I'll give the developers credit for doing something different with Critical Death. That's the name of the game, by the way. But it really plays like ass. I know they also made Warhawk, but I know that game is a single-player game. But there is some ties to it, with there being the final boss in Twisted Metal Black named after the game. Who's my favorite GTA 5 protagonists? Oh, if I said besides, I was going to be confused for a second. I don't know, to be honest. I definitely dislike Trevor. His style of humor is like people who think that being loudmouthed and funny is like the funniest shit ever. And I just don't rock with that. Honestly, not really too sure, to be honest. I apologize if I can't really answer your question in particular, but it's just... I don't know. I definitely dislike Trevor, but I'm not certain if I would like Michael or Franklin more, honestly. But, have I played Dead Space? I played for the first one. I really liked it. It's everything that Resident Evil 4 should have been. And even seeing that interview from the developers of the game, taking clear inspiration of it, I can definitely see it. As far as the gameplay goes, it definitely really is what Resident Evil 4 should have been. And then you have Resident Evil 5, which just plays like shit compared to Dead Space. I mean, think about it. You have full movement despite being a third-person shooter game. You still have your inventory management. You technically can pause the game, but you can't pause the game when you're looking at your HUD. I think there's inventory reloading, like in the classic Resident Evil games, which for some reason did not come back into Resident Evil 4, and how people defend that is legitimately baffling. I haven't played the remake, and I refuse to since EA made it, and since they killed off the studio that made it, they should not be given the time of day for it. I think a lot of people forget that. Franklin's pretty badass. Yes, he's also quite the meme, too, with that line in the beginning of the game. I also like his jobbing ability. I don't even know what Michael's ability is, to be honest. I forget. But a lot of people, when the Dead Space remake came out, like, people were so hyper-focused on the fact that there was this transgender bathroom shit. But the main breaking point for me was that EA that shut down Visceral Games is a definite sign to not even bother with it. No, I'm not buying GTA 6. As of Elden Ring, I'm not playing it. It's gonna be shit, and I'd rather play the Saints Row reboot. I'm not even kidding. Not gonna pretend that the Saints Row reboot killed off a series I actually liked, but I think I'd rather deal with something that's gonna hurt less compared to what's gonna hurt even more. Ever played Metroid games? Yes, I have. I really enjoy Super Metroid and was it the other games in the Game Boy Advance? Not to show anything, but I did make a guide and walkthrough for Super Metroid. It's actually one of the few guides I actually bother completing. I don't want to really talk about that though. I haven't gone through Metroid Prime, unfortunately. I know it's a game that people really like, but I know that the canonity in those games is kind of weird, and I personally consider it the guiding games or whatever of the story. I didn't finish Metroid Dread, unfortunately. And I really hate how the game doesn't let you use the D-pad. It was the same shit in Samus Returns, and I hated it. But since I've gotten back into figuring out emulation on the Android phone, I'm going to actually start playing it seriously. Even going for some games like Code of Princess, a really fun beat 'em up that's kind of like the Guardian Heroes to a point. And actually has an English sub, unlike the re-release, which is kind of shitty. But I enjoy the Metroid games. I haven't played much of Prime, but the 2D games I definitely enjoy. Meridia sucks though. I hate that shit. It's like the one area in the game that's just kind of shitty. Oh yeah, Metroid Fusion. Yeah, I love that game. I know it's linear as hell in points, but it still does a decent job of being a decent game of its kind. And also technically being, at the time, being like the latest in the Metroid timeline. If it even matters at this point. I know Other M is quite controversial, and for good reason. Especially because of fucking Adam. Oh yeah, Super Metroid, when you play it like you're supposed to, like in the 90s with the lights off and you have stereo, it still plays really well. Even if you use the wall jumping, which technically is not explained to you at all until you get to a certain point. I still say it holds up extremely well, but it's not something I can personally digest. But it's definitely a game worth playing at least once, if not more. Even Zero Mission is a pretty good remake of Metroid 1. You can even play the original game on the Game Boy Advance version of Zero Mission. The only version that exists because Nintendo. There was also Metroid Prime as well as a bonus unlockable. Metroid 1 unfortunately has aged like shit. I guess it's good for the time, but compared to Zelda, it's gonna... I say that I say that Zelda aged a lot better than Zelda. Alright, you're gonna go to bed now? Have a good night. Well, thanks for the short-lived company. Tark, if you're still in the chat, we can talk about Twisted Metal once more, whatever you want to bring to the table. I'm gonna try to deliver this car without failure, I hope. And if not, I'll try to do something else, I guess. I guess I could check up on the XCOM, see if I got in any shitty responses. I mentioned earlier that one of my tweets got some traction or whatever because I mentioned that Sonic Unleashed might have good graphics, but it doesn't mean shit because the gameplay is kind of aged in some aspects, especially with Sun and Metal Moon collecting. Yeah, Sun and Moon Metal collecting, excuse me. Oh yeah, I was definitely excited for the Twisted Metal show, honestly. I did binge through it while going through the game on Twisted Metal 2012 on Twisted. It was the only morally correct option because I wanted to make sure that my time wasn't wasted. And I unfortunately fucked up on this, so I gotta reset. There definitely are some annoying things about it, like that the characters are named after the vehicles and not the drivers, which makes no sense. Like, I know that Sweet Tooth is the vehicle name, but yet they call Needles Cane Sweet Tooth. That just seems like a really stupid discrepancy that should not have been in the writing room. I get this supposed to be a prequel to the tournament, but I feel that some things definitely could have been maybe a little bit more in line with the games. Especially with how Calypso was handled. And with Raven. I really like the callbacks to the various games, though. I feel that the people who actually worked on it, I think they nailed the fan service a lot better than the Sonic films, all three of them. Like, there's actually a ton of them, and I remember looking up an article on all of the references they made and shit. Like, they had the drivers from Twisted Metal 4, the girl that drives Flower Powers in there, which I thought was really cool. They even have the granny that drove Hammerhead in Twisted Metal 3. I thought that was really cool. Like, I think for what material they could use, I felt that they did a good job of it. I didn't like how they had Simon Whittlebone, though. I felt that he was probably the least appropriate of a character. They just kind of made him into a couple of shitty dick jokes, and that was basically it. They even referenced the, I know one of the episode openings might be a very vague reference to how the original Twisted Metal mentions that we're not going to kill dogs and that's sick. Because I remember reading the manual of Twisted Metal 1, it's like, we're not that sick, and it was just like, it was just peak dark humor, honestly. I know there's some characters made for the show, like with John Doe, but I say his character arc was interesting. There were an episode or two that I felt was kind of pointless. I felt like it was there just to pad out time, for really no reason besides to pad out the Doomsday Clock, whatever it was called in there. Who's my favorite character? You mean from the game or from anything? It's kind of hard to think about, to be honest. Let's see. Trying to think of what to do next. All franchises from Twisted Metal. Okay, alright, I'm gonna have to think about that for a couple minutes because it's, having to point out the one favorite character is kind of insane. I do have a soft spot for Trash Man because he's actually voiced by John St. John. If you ever played Sonic Adventure, there's a character in that game called Bait the Cat and has the exact same fucking voice. I'm not even kidding. Hell, even Ryan Drummond is in Twisted Metal 4 and he voices Pizza Boy, which is pretty funny. Just some pretty sweet irony right there, if I've ever heard of it. I like that they made Calypso a playable character in Twisted Metal 4, though. That was really cool. With his nuclear truck that shot literal nukes. Well, of course, I love the Twisted Metal games. The only one that I wouldn't say neither of them are terrible, but I know that Head On is probably the most offensive if we're going by actual Twisted Metal games, because I know some people really dislike Twisted Metal 3 and 4, which I can definitely get because Twisted Metal 3 wanted to be the real sequel to Twisted Metal 2, and the developers of the game, 989 Studios, are basically known for Siphon Filter and a couple of sports games and not really much else. Yeah, the same beloved PlayStation classic Siphon Filter was developed by the same people who butchered Twisted Metal 3. But if we're going to compare semantics, I would say Head On is slightly more offensive because of characters like Cousin Eddie. I'm definitely no Lewis, though, that channel that did a showcase of the various Twisted Metal games, but I definitely remember a lot about Twisted Metal. It also does kind of suck that Twisted Metal Black doesn't really have much development of the characters, though, like with Black, Warthog, and Axel. I think they were cut due to story constraints or time or whatever, but I've seen people complain about Preacher from Twisted Metal Black. It's like, first of all, despite the glaring secret messages from Minion, number one, it's an M-rated game, and number two, the fucking Preacher was like mind controlled and shit. Of course he's gonna do heinous shit. Not trying to say what he did was acceptable, but it's like these people complain about like the stupidest shit. I actually like that Twisted Metal Black took the dark, edgy side of it, and especially the way they presented the stories. It was actually interesting. And even the little text that appeared in between stages too to get a good idea of the character. It was actually interesting. It made you want to keep playing. Even the choices you make when you pick the levels, it was actually different depending on what you picked. Even the characters commented on how small the stage is. Or even the I think even when you play as Yellow Jacket and you get to the final stage, I believe the son makes a comment about, trusting the police, but this one's getting in our way or something, and you got to stop him in order to save Christmas, or not Christmas, but you got to save you got to beat Warhawk to get the grand prize. I know that the European version of Twisted Metal Black was ridiculously gutted, though, like legit. There was so much censorship to that, it wasn't even funny. What was that one game called? It's a bunch of PlayStation characters fighting. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. That's the one that had Sweet Tooth in it. I actually liked that game too, it's just that it was ridiculously unbalanced. Especially with how you're meant to do damage and shit. There definitely could have been a lot better PlayStation IPs, like the lack of Crash Bandicoot was definitely kind of suspect. I know that they wanted to probably have Solid Snake in there, but we got Raiden instead. Whatever. We got the DMC reboot Dante. Whatever. You got Heihachi in there, so that's cool. It's, if the gameplay wasn't complete shit, I'd definitely say it was a good contender to get a PlayStation 3, but the balance of that game is kind of weird. Like, the main point of that game is to build up meter to use your supers, and that's how you get kills and shit. Like, you don't just drain a stamina bar and doing a certain attack to knock a character off a stage. Or like the stamina shit with Smash Brothers, or when you're fighting Master Hand, it's like playing a Capcom fighting game, but doing supers to get your kills and shit. And a lot of the characters in that game had really unbalanced supers. Like, I know that Kratos had some sort of level 1 move that was like really good, and then some level 3 supers were basically like instant nukes and shit, whereas others were just like gimmicky. Like with Raiden, I think all the characters would turn into cardboard boxes, you had to cut them to gain the kills. Whereas characters like Heihachi, it says as soon as you activated it, you basically got free points. It was kind of polarizing. That being said, though, being able to play as Sir Daniel Fortescue and Big Daddy was honestly really fun. But I can't keep saying that the game is fun because the game balance was kind of whacked. It's as much as I enjoy playing it, it definitely was unbalanced. And ironically enough, Isaac Clarke was also DLC in that game, as well as Zeus from God of War, the dude from Warhawk, I think, not Warhawk, Starhawk, and some other character, I think. I can't remember. I don't know if it was Kat from Gravity Rush. I don't know if she was the other DLC character. I'll have to look it up. And no, I haven't played that, unfortunately. I know it's like considered a cult classic amongst the PlayStation fandom. But it's, I guess people are upset that they got a live-action movie, I guess. I'm not going to really talk about that. But if that character was top tier, which I'm checking right now on Reddit says she's top tier, then I guess you basically had to pay for top tier fighting game character, and we don't know how well that usually goes, especially when Capcom does it. Or Mortal Kombat. Especially with Mortal Kombat 1 right now. Basically paying for a DLC character who completely obliterates the competition, like with Bayonetta and Smash 4. This is actually from 2 months ago. Basically, yes. And that's assuming that they didn't nerf her to the ground after, so I don't know. I haven't played the game in a while, though. But basically, any character who is sold as DLC and not just some unlockable, like Juggernaut, for example, or Minion, is kind of pay to win. For different reasons, but still fundamentally the same, I guess. I know the final boss of the game was based on some sort of PlayStation 1 thing, which was interesting. But you couldn't play as him, so that was kind of dumb. I don't know how it would work, to be honest, but it's kind of sucky that you couldn't get the luxury to do so. I hate to derail for a second. I don't see how not collecting medals means you aren't getting good. No, it means that just because you're doing a thing that's annoying or whatever, or learning how the annoying thing works, doesn't make it less annoying. It's like when people say that Tiny Tina is written to be annoying on purpose. Guess what? It doesn't mean she's less annoying. It just means that Anthony Birch decided to make her into an annoying bitch. Writing a character for the sake of being annoying doesn't mean she's annoying. But whatever. But yeah, this person is kind of cuckoo, so I'm not going to bother responding. It's the whole ordeal with Sonic Unleashed on PC having a mod that basically removes the medal collecting, and it's just fucking stupid. I don't like that Sega did that with Sonic Unleashed, but just removing it outright is just fucking dumb. And especially so people get pissy if you so much as request an easy mode for Souls games. It's fucking dumb. I would consider it in the same length. Maybe not as harsh, but it's still kind of the same principle. You're essentially taking away a part of the game that you don't like, and it's okay because reasons. Like, I don't enjoy the Twisted difficulty progression in Twisted Metal 2012. But if that's what David Jaffe wants, that's what David Jaffe gets. I just put up or shut up, and that's exactly what I did. Honestly, I would consider the boss fights to be infinitely more annoying than the racing missions. I know this is so kind of terrible, but I would say that Iron Maiden is probably the hardest mission in the game. I would say even harder than the one we had to fight the two Juggernauts, because at that point you already have Talon. And if you play your cards right, you can technically destroy the Juggernauts beforehand. It's just that you have to play extremely carefully. But getting that rhythm of destroying the Juggernauts is not the hard part. It's just surviving after the fact, because if you fuck up, you have to do it again. I know this sounds extremely crazy, but it's damn true. Not to mention that you can't even use Talon when you fight shit, I can't think right now. Like, at least with the mean Juggernauts, you can technically use Talon, whereas in the Iron Maiden fight, you're basically forced to use Grim because nobody else is capable of beating her to get that gold. And even though you're using a flying character like Talon, you still have to play extremely carefully. So I don't know how people think that using a flying character like him is considered cheating. I mean, he's not busted like the helicopter from Road Trip or even the flying saucer from the same game. I say it's completely a fair game as long as they don't disable it. How many seasons will there be of Twisted Metal TV show? Honestly, I don't know. I know the first season was basically a prelude to the tournament, but I don't know if they're going to make it proper or not. But I really hope it's just as good as the first and keeps me interested. The only problem is finding a game to play while I binge it. Like, I know when I watch the Sonic movies, 1 and 2, I'm not watching 3, I really hate that they basically made, what the fuck is his name? The other doctor from Sonic Adventure 2 to a complete fucking joke. And no disrespect to Keanu Reeves, but I just don't like the idea of the Sonic movies. And playing through Bayonetta, as much as interesting of a game that is, it's just not for me. Not for the meme reasons, but I just don't enjoy that type of game. Those hyper linear combat arena type games are not my forte. I can respect what it has to offer, and it has decent replay value, but I just don't enjoy those types of games. There's plenty of other action games you can find and not be bored with them. Hell, I'd rather play through fucking Deadlocked? No, not Deadlocked. Yeah, I think that's the one. Deadlocked, or known as Gladiator in Europe, than playing Doom Eternal, despite having a lot of similarities in some aspects. Because the gunplay is actually good, even in first person, and the story isn't complete shit, but that's another ordeal. I don't want to derail this into a fucking Doom rant, because I could, but I won't. But honestly, it's kind of hard to tell as to how many seasons there will be of the Twisted Metal show. But I really hope they keep it just as interesting as the first, even though there were a lot of discrepancies that kind of annoyed me. Especially with the post-ending credits and even some of the other scenes. Like with Needles Cane, which was definitely interesting. I also like that they actually made a costume that looks like the outfit from Twisted Metal 3. I thought that was a really nice touch. And I saw, I was like, oh my god, they actually modeled the suit like the one from Twisted Metal 3. Like, they really showed a lot of passion and heart into it, but the discrepancies still cannot be excused. Like, also, I guess, from, like, going by the games, I guess, even though I feel that the writers made Needles Cane into Dollar Store Joker, I feel that they did this because technically they have Harold, the bag from the first game, and I guess this was before they made Needles Cane into the psychopathic killer that he is, and I feel that Twisted Metal Black and onwards kind of retconned that in a way, even though technically in Twisted Metal Black it's... I'm sure you know the big twist by then, but I guess ever since Twisted Metal 2012, they basically retconned his silly clown appearance and being this full-blown killer, I guess, which I guess is fine, but I know that Twisted Metal 2012 also took a lot of liberties with that, like how with Dollface and stuff, or other characters. It makes sense in the context of Twisted Metal Black, but I think having a proper balance between the light side and dark side of Needles Cane is more appropriate in my opinion. But I wouldn't be lying if I said, or no, I'd be lying if I said that the way that Needles Cane is portrayed in the show is just basically dollar store Joker. But considering that Harold's in the picture and he eventually does snap, and the way that they show off his burning hair makes some form of sense. But it still just feels like that they basically made him into the Joker in some ways. I hope that if they do continue referencing the other games, I hope they get some shorter people to have the gang from Twisted Metal 4, even if some people don't want to consider it canon. I think that'd be a pretty interesting little sub-point. But I don't know if they would be that creative. I like to think that they would, though, because they technically did reference Twisted Metal 4 to a point. So I like to think that they at least go a bit above and beyond. But I'm honestly not sure. It would be cool, though. I also thought one of the characters in the show was meant to be a blatant jab at Cousin Eddie, but I don't think it was him. That was the vibes that I got when I seen it, but it could just be a possible headcanon and not much more. I hope there's a scene, though, where they actually do introduce Minion, and there's Cousin Eddie, and then Minion just, like, completely evaporates him. Because I fucking hate Cousin Eddie. If he didn't replace Minion, I really wouldn't care. Or even better, actually. If there's a scene where Calypso and Sweet Tooth are talking, and then Sweet Tooth just calls him Billy, he's like, "Don't call me that, my name's not Billy." Because in Twisted Metal Small Brawl, they have, I guess Calypso is technically his last name, but in Twisted Metal Head On, I said it again. In Twisted Metal Small Brawl, they technically gave him the first name of Billy. I think it'd be a pretty funny jab at that. "Hello, Billy, it's been a long time. My name's not Billy." I think it was Billy. I know there's some first name they gave him in Small Brawl. The hardest game I played. It's I could be a normie and say Dark Souls, but that's obviously not true. I mean, it technically is, but if you know how to roll and properly time your attacks, it's really not that bad. A lot of people really oversell the difficulty in those games, honestly. There are plenty of games that came out before and since then that make Dark Souls look like a fucking joke. It's just that people haven't played, like, actually challenging games. Like, I consider games like Metal Gear Solid to be infinitely harder, and not even just going for the big boss rank, which unfortunately is kind of pointless, in my opinion, because you don't really get anything from it. But even just playing the game on Extreme would make Dark Souls look like a fucking joke. But I know that playing Akiba's Trip 2, or Akiba's Trip Undead and Undressed on, not Otaku, but Gamer Difficulty, I think it's called. You actually have to unlock the hardest difficulty in that game. I remember playing the game for the first time, and it actually was pretty challenging, but I really enjoyed that game. Probably one of my favorite games I played as of recent. Let's see, there's also Destroy Mode in Blaster Master Zero. That can be pretty damn challenging, but sometimes not for the right reasons. It's kind of more or less trial and error, and one of the bosses, despite being optional, is just fucking annoying, and I hate it. I'm technically going through Nier on PS3, but because I'm not playing it easy, I can't really qualify it as a hard game because you have different difficulty options. And no, I don't think there's a reason to play on normal hard, since there's legit nothing to be earned from it besides maybe a couple extra experience points or something. I don't know if I can factor games that don't have difficulty choices or not, but I'm going to because I can. I with that rule set in mind, I could definitely put Time Splitters, all of them, on hard mode. I say Time Splitters 2 on hard mode is probably the hardest because you only get one checkpoint per level, and getting the enemies that get headshots on you, they take like half your health. And despite Future Perfect being a little bit more balanced, you can lose damage really quickly, and there's just some really bullshit moments in there. Should probably get the terabytes so I can find this location because I'm doing horrible trying to find it. But we've been going through Time Splitters 1 on... Even playing Time Splitters 1, even on easy, is annoying. But I would still consider it an infinitely more enjoyable game than Halo solely for the multiplayer. And that actually earning your unlocks is rewarding and you can actually get more joy out of it. But I know that Halo Legendary is complete bullshit. I say Heroic is probably more balanced in my opinion, but I don't like the RNG checkpoint system that Bungie games have had. I know it's also in Halo 4, and I also know it's in Halo Infinite. And I also know that same RNG checkpoint bullshit is in the Call of Duty games ever since Modern Warfare 1. I don't know about the original. Which one? I'm talking about the games made by Bungie, Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Halo Reach. I have an old-ass highlight of one of my old-ass streams was playing the original Modern Warfare 3, and there was a point in the game was playing the game on Veteran, and the game did not give me a checkpoint, despite that after getting to that point a second time, the game gave me the checkpoint. It's just fucking stupid. I'd much prefer having manual saving like the old Doom games did. Just for the sole fact that your time is not wasted. And some people say, oh, well, modern games can't do that, but Wolfenstein 2 lets you do it. And even, as much as I detest the checkpoint system in Doom 2016 and Eternal, at least they're consistent. But even the way the Doom saves is fucking weird, honestly. Like, the game tank only gives you checkpoints when you're going for the game initially, and then when you're going for the game again, the game gives you no checkpoints whatsoever. And then even when you're playing Doom Eternal with the Master levels, which is just basically remixed levels, which... It's kind of like with Twisted Metal 1, ironically enough, where the first level is just you against one other person in a small arena, and then Doom Eternal's Master levels is basically fight for your life. We have to fight against 5 opponents, and you don't really get anything from it besides a cheat code that lets you unlock invincibility or some shit. Which, to be fair, I don't know if there were like gaming magazines back then when Twisted Metal 1 was around, but I'm sure by the time that people found out about it and the internet became a thing, people just kind of did word of mouth and then documented online for others to see, so it's kind of known at this point. You know, tips and tricks was certainly a thing where you can just, like, you know, read up on the cheats and shit. So, it's just kind of there, I guess. I know there's, like, a retro achievement for that, but I don't bother with that shit. I can see its purpose, and I can see some people getting some enjoyment out of it, but I don't really care for such things. I think RetroArch has something they can install it, but I don't really care, to be honest. I just do not care for glorification in that way. I have no idea where this fucking box is, so I'm just gonna move on. Sorry for wasting time. But yeah, I know that Halo 1 and 2, at least, I think there's a mod for the PC version. Actually, I think it's just Halo 1, I think. Where you can have like a manual saving system, which if there was a way I could play it more consistently, I would play a lot more because I do enjoy Halo's gunplay, and the campaigns for Halo 1 and 2 are pretty good, but I just don't like that random RNG checkpoint shit. I know it's kind of ironic that, and very much hypocritical that I'm complaining about people moving the medal system, but it's, you can still technically make saves when the game's supposed to give it to you, first of all. It's not that I'm going to abuse it. And I can play it normally if I want to, but it's just like, I don't know. You could definitely call me out on that part, but I just don't like random checkpoints in games like that. It's just bad design. It wouldn't really be much different from a manual save anyway. Like, you could make a save after a certain sequence of something. They're just not reliable, honestly. But whatever, I'm going to digress on that. But yeah, this is pretty much, that's pretty much done. Have I played Little Big Planet? Unfortunately, not much of it. I know it was a really good game back during the PS3 days. I know the good old PP Purnell crapped on it because it's one of those games that is built off of the level editor and shit. Which is kind of weird, but whatever. The game's only 6 hours long, and the game has you making levels. Well, I just want to play the levels that the game gave me. It really does suck that Sony delisted one of those games and its DLC. At least Little Big Planet 1 and 2 have complete editions, which is good, but I don't think they did that for the others, unfortunately. I have not played Little Big Planet karting, and I don't know how you go around to playing that today. I know Little Big Planet offered up to 4-player cooperative play, but I don't know if the Little Big Planet karting has the same. Honestly, any racing game that doesn't offer 4-player racing in split screen is just a massive sin. Like an icon of sin, levels of massive sins. Like, there's some Hot Wheels game that's out there, but it's only 2-player, and it's just like, come on, man. Surely the game can handle 2 extra racers in a fucking Hot Wheels game, but what do I know? I actually still have the PS3 hooked up, but I'm going to have to hook up the 360 at some point because I actually want to go through Sonic Unleashed as intended and just see if the frame rate is as bad as people are making out to because now I'm curious. And I also want to go through Diablo 3 so I can see about transferring the save data from the original version to the new version. But I also don't know if it's going to take up a bit of space. And I don't know if it's even possible to do that at this point. And yes, I like Diablo 3, but only on console, because you can actually play the game offline, unlike the PC version. And there's also local play as well, and not just like LAN and shit. Like, you can actually do local co-op, like the PlayStation 1 port of Diablo, which is good. Now, obviously, is it the best Diablo game? Well, no, that would go to Diablo 2, but not even the remaster has LAN, which is crap. And I know there's also the console version as well, but I don't care for that. And I certainly as hell don't care for Diablo 4, despite it being shiny and new. But I don't think there's any local play whatsoever, and it's one of those online-only games, so fuck it. You can legit buy Diablo 3 on Switch and get way more money for your buck. But that's just how I see it. Not that I hate Diablo, I do enjoy Borderlands, at least the first one. The second game definitely has a lot of improvements to the gameplay, but the story is complete cringe, and 3 is even worse, and I absolutely do not care how 4 is going to be, because it's just going to probably be the same shit. And if I do play it, I'm going to have to buy it secondhand, because I'm not giving Gearbox my fucking money. They can fuck off for that. Not even like I got to play Borderlands 3 in co-op anyway. But that's also another game I need to finish, actually, getting to the second the second playthrough, whatever, so you can unlock that mode that lets you create other characters at a max level or some shit. I know Borderlands 3's gunplay is like really good, but it's just everything else around is kind of terrible. So it's only half of a game, honestly. And despite people crapping on The Last of Us 2 or even Wolfenstein 2 for the same reasons, I don't think just turning off the sound effects, or not sound effects, the voices and the voices is a good fix.
How we doing out there?
Yeah, pre-sequel is kind of dumb. It was just basically an excuse to explain Handsome Jack's backstory. I don't even like the character, honestly. I think he's massively overrated as a sympathetic villain. I think Solid the Snake was a lot more interesting in that regard. Like, he actually had a reason to fight, but of course, being that he wanted to kill everyone, it's like a big no-no, but he actually had a motive and goals that made sense, and he just wanted to be remembered. Handsome Jack just wanted revenge because people pissed him off or something. I don't like Handsome Jack at all. I don't think he's a very funny character, and I don't really think there's any bits in Borderlands 2 I consider, like, laughing my ass off funny. Hell, I think there's even jokes in Borderlands 1 that are probably funnier than what Borderlands 2 forcefully tries to do a lot. Like, even Ninetales can be considered funny. Especially with the sign on his crotch and then the little message when you first see him. Ninetales. Also, he has 3 balls. You can call that a really stupid, immature dick joke, but they don't, like, constantly remind you in your face. And of course, you have, Lance McCloud, a clear reference to Nintendo's Star Fox. If that was in Borderlands 2, we'd be getting a lot of stupid references about, what is it, do a barrel roll? It's just a clever name and that's it. Not to say that Borderlands was always serious, but its humor was a lot more condensed compared to what Borderlands 2 did. Like, even Claptrap in Borderlands 1 wasn't this obnoxious motherfucker. I mean, yeah, he was annoying, but he wasn't, like, ridiculously annoying, I guess. Mainly talking about the base game, of course. I'm sure that the Claptrap Revolution could change that, but, you know, it's, I don't remember being like, oh my god, it's fucking Claptrap. It's, I don't know. It's, Borderlands 1 definitely has a special place in my heart. And I actually enjoy the type of gameplay way more than the linear combat arenas that games have to offer. In case you can tell, I really like the exploration factor in games. Even in stuff like Far Cry 4 and 5 I can get down with. I don't mind linear games, but if they're not enjoyable from start to finish, what is the fun in playing it, honestly? I also like Metal Gear Rising with Vengeance for that reason, but I know that after you fight Sundown, the game just kind of ends. And speaking from personal experience, since I played for the game on a fresh save on Revengeance, I kind of have a say in the matter. And the blocking shit is ridiculously easy. You just spam the direction and the button to block, and that's basically it. Am I going to get the new Borderlands? No. But if I do decide to buy it, I'm going to buy it secondhand, like I did with Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and Mortal Kombat 1. And I don't know if I'm going to buy it at launch anyway. Like, I don't want to waste my money on shit. Mortal Kombat 1 was a waste of money. Tekken 8, the story mode, if I were to just play it, would be a waste of money. I might try playing it again just to see if that other mode is any good, because I know there's like a dedicated side mode besides the online and shit. Maybe I'll try arcade with a couple of characters, but I know that so far the story was a waste of investment so far. And even though I've only done an arcade mode with, what's her name, Lily in Street Fighter 6, I did not get my money's worth. I didn't go through World Tour yet, so I'm gonna have to withhold comments on that for now. That could probably be a good game to binge stuff so that I'm not completely draining brain cells while playing it, though. I know Darth Goldust, who was here a while ago, is quite into the movies and shows and shit. So if I can find something to binge watch while going through Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6, I could probably balance it with something that might be worth watching, I guess. But I'm definitely not watching Sonic 3. I'm going to pull the James Wolfe Ghostbusters 2016 card. I'm not bothering with it. I've seen the first two. I hated it. I'm not watching the third one just for verification purposes. That's why I'm not playing Elden Ring. It's the same shit as Dark Souls 3, except it's open world. And I thought people hated open world games. Like, anytime Ubisoft makes an open world game, we have to be reminded of how open world games are slop, I guess. But then when Sonic or Sega does an open world game, people glaze it. Or when FromSoft makes an open world game, it's glazed. Like, what the fuck? Like, I enjoy Watch Dogs 2, Wildlands, and Far Cry 5. Not so much New Dawn, but at least it's not as terrible as far as progression goes. But, and no, I didn't like Far Cry 6. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, to be honest. It's so dumbed down that it actually hurts. Because I actually like Far Cry. I actually find Far Cry to be a lot more insane than Skyrim. Not to crap on Skyrim, but I just find the game really boring. And even though I wouldn't say Fallout is any better, I can at least agree that you can kind of get lost and immersed into the world of Fallout. Mainly Fallout 3 or New Vegas. I know people like New Vegas a lot more, but for whatever reasons, I could like get lost into something like Fallout 3 and 4. But I know that they're very flawed games. But I'll at least give Bethesda some credit that whenever I do play Fallout 3 or 4, I kind of get lost into the zone. But it's kind of like the only thing they're really good at. And I don't think they managed to capture that magic with Skyrim for me. I find it really boring to play. One of the main reasons I dislike Far Cry 6 is that they removed Far Cry Arcade, which I feel is a major component to the game series. Obviously, it's not like Little Big Planet levels of creative and shit, but it is a thing that's been featured in like every Far Cry game. So I feel them removing that is kind of dumb. And especially since that Far Cry 6 has both horseback riding and tank riding, I bet that if it was in the game, we'd probably get some really sick World War I or even Civil War related maps or whatever to go with it, or even having like, you know, Battlefield versus some other shit to go with it. Like, people have made like really cool stuff with Far Cry 5's arcade mode. Legit. But unfortunately, Far Cry 5 itself is just a slog to play, mainly due to how the story progression goes. You do literally any side activity relating to the game, and the game just kind of forces you to do story missions, which I just find immensely bad design. I hate it. I don't like it at all. I know New Dawn kind of got rid of that, but they also simplified the gameplay a lot, which is dumb. I know both Far Cry 5 and New Dawn have really shitty microtransactions, which granted I didn't need to use any of them, but they're still just as pointless, like with Capcom, whenever they make a Devil May Cry game and have to add in microtransactions, which I don't get, but whatever. Oh, you don't need to buy them, then why are they there? The mission where you get Faust the Hat is literally the most reliable mission to farm for red orbs in that game. Like, make sense out of that. Might be sacrilegious to say, but I don't enjoy playing for Devil May Cry 5. I don't get a climax out of playing the game with assist mode and super form. And also people say, oh, well, turn it off and that might change your mind. Why should I? Well, I'm not going to get into that because it would just be a really stupid argument. I'll do some car selling and I'll probably move on to a different game. I feel like my ramblings are starting to interfere with the gameplay, and that's obviously not good. You should definitely join the Discord, or I don't know if you're subscribed or not. Not very often I have legitimate company in this manner, to be honest. I don't like to plug it like that, but it's it'd be nice to have company on most days like this. Instead of waiting to wake up on the right side of the bed and hoping for a good day. But anyway, let me try to sell this car again. I've been going through Salt and Sanctuary because I actually want to go for that game. Not Salt and Sanctuary, Salt and Sacrifice, excuse me. I really like Salt and Sanctuary, but there are some things that are really annoying. But I feel that Salt and Sacrifice is a significantly worse game. But I have made good enough progress so I can finally start going through shit I haven't gone through before. Finally having a acceptable build that will allow me to actually go for the rest of the game. I definitely will go for it. I should probably get the helicopter though to do this, because I don't know if I'll be able to drive there. Also, I'm trying to level up in Xenoverse 2 because I know that the level cap is 160. And I'm actually not that far from it, but farming that is kind of boring, I guess. But since I do have company, it really wouldn't be too bad. Yes, I've done the events to unlock the level cap increase. It's just that farming levels in that game is the most fun shit to watch, honestly. But I have found a method that is consistent and relatively not AFK, but is little button inputs as needed, I guess. And yes, I actually like playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Not going to call myself a Dragon Ball fan by any means, because a lot of it, after the Cell saga, just kind of was mixed in my opinion. Especially with how Toriyama, God rest his soul, his decision choices on the show hasn't exactly been the most gracious, but I'm not going to really get into that because I feel like I'd be slandering the man, but it's, I'll be nicer now, I guess. But as a game in itself, I enjoy playing Xenoverse 2. And no, I have not played Sparking Zero. If I do buy it, I'm probably going to buy it secondhand because I know that the offline content is not worth the $70 price tag. I'm sorry. I'm not going to compare it to Xenoverse 2 because obviously that would be completely disingenuous. But I'm going to compare it to the other Budokai Tenkaichi games, and even Budokai itself, that has a much more proper balance of offline content that made people go back to those games. And I think that Sparking Zero doing the whole focusing with the online content with little regard to offline is just very disrespectful. I'm not expecting a Xenoverse 3 in Sparking Zero, but I do expect a game that's worth $70 and Budokai Tenkaichi 4 to actually have the thing that made Budokai Tenkaichi worth fucking playing. Anyway, rant aside, have I heard of a game called Vigor? Let me look it up. I don't think I have, but I'll look it up really quick. I hope it's not an inappropriate game. Oh, it's a free-to-play online shooter game. No, I have not played it, and the fact it's a free-to-play game, I have no interest in it. I don't really like a lot of free-to-play games, unless they're like MMOs. I feel like those are the one exception to the rule. Because, obviously, MMO is, well, you know, I don't know. I don't like a lot of these games that aren't MMOs and are, like, free-to-play and shit. So, Overwatch I'm not interested in. Marvel Rivals I'm certainly not interested in. It's I don't like that free to play crap. I don't mind games like Guilty Gear Xrd where there's that fishing mode where you have to use a currency to get unlocks, and any repeat unlocks would go towards the currency to get stuff, and there's even an option to get guaranteed stuff you haven't gotten before. Or even something like Senran Kagura where you essentially have a loot box for fucking panties, and no, I'm not kidding, and other undergarments and shit. I wish I was kidding. S4 Versus, to be specific, the one game in the series that's worth playing, honestly. And certainly not a bad game to play by any means. It's unfortunate the PS5, when you play the game on PS5, I guess the compatibility from PS4 kind of fucks up the game a lot. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But those types of random unlocks in games like the ones I mentioned is completely fine. As in, you don't have to pay real money, and the grind itself isn't a complete obnoxious bore. But a lot of the games like Genshin Impact or whatever has that type of unlock system, and I fucking hate it. Like, why should I put in like 60 hours into a game that I don't like just to maybe get the chance to unlock a character that may or may not be worthwhile in the long run? I'd rather just do something else at that point. And even in those two games I mentioned specifically, the grind isn't particularly that bad because you can just like go through arcade mode or whatever, or even just playing the Metal Millionaires mode or whatever, or even in Senran Kagura, the missions are just, actually fun to go through, the things a game should be, but whatever. It's I don't like games like that where it's like the whole point of the game is to grind and then get a chance of an unlock, whatever, or get a loot box as an unlock. I just think that's really shitty design. I hate it. I know not every free-to-play game is like that, obviously, because that would be kind of disingenuous, but a lot of them they just rub me the wrong way. Excuse me. Extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov, no. Especially since there is yet to be a game like Escape from Tarkov that's actually completely playable offline. The game's also a fucking ripoff, by the way. I almost ended up buying it for myself, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Because it's it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like, I can see the appeal of games like Escape from Tarkov, where it's high risk, high reward, but then you just look at something like RuneScape PvP and wonder if it's really worth it. And trust me, if you look up RuneScape PvP and shit and see people get pissed off with the stakes and shit, I think there'd be a good reason that you don't want to play those games. I do like the idea of an extraction shooter, but I don't think there's like one that's made for like offline players or whatever. And I think that's what a lot of roguelikes are like anyway. Is that you have a set build and you have to, if you die you lose it or whatever, or you have to go through the game again to get a different set or whatever. But I know Escape from Tarkov is mainly PvP focused anyway, and I don't really enjoy playing against randoms anyway, even if it's cooperatively or competitively. Even something like Twisted Metal, I wouldn't really get a high in playing against random people. I'd much rather have a game that has good AI. Which surprisingly, Twisted Metal 3 and 4 actually have that thing where the AI fights each other, whereas in every other game they always gang up on you and shit. But that's a complete nitpick if I'm going to be honest, but it's not the worst sin that the game commits. Dark and Darker. It doesn't even matter if it's like whatever. I just don't care for a lot of online only games, period. Even if some games are ridiculously priced, I like to at least be able to have the ability to play them even after the game servers are dead. It's really that simple. Like, even with that new Fatal Fury game that's coming out soon, like, if there's no meat to the if there's no meat in the offline play, and the only thing that the people keep playing it for is the online, and no one's playing it or the servers are shit, why even bother playing it? Well, at least with Call of Duty, they used to offer a campaign mode that didn't completely suck, and the side mode that was okay, I guess. Whether it be the arcade mode from COD 4, which was just basically a points mode, or even World at War introducing zombies that forever plagued autists with kids. Sorry, or even Modern Warfare 2 having the dollar store version of Times Square as a challenge mode. Or even Modern Warfare 3 improving on that with the Spec Ops mode, with the only major problem with that game is that it's not designed around 4-player gameplay. So, I actually do like it, it's just you can't really get much mileage out of it when it's only made for 2 people in mind. But that's a complete nitpick if I've ever heard of one. And Ghost's extinction mode will be okay if you actually pause the game when you're playing by yourself, but you can't. And that's complete bullshit. But all these Call of Duty games require online, it's just not worth playing. I don't even like playing Call of Duty that much anyway. Anything from Call of Duty 4 up to World War II, you can at least play offline or whatever. Even if the game's quality varies greatly between releases. Especially since World War II, unironically, has a much more faithful, what the hell is that map called? The really small map that was in Call of Duty 4, and was supposed to be in Modern Warfare 2 but got cut or some shit. Shipment? Yeah, Shipment, there we go. Actually having a much more, accurate version of Shipment, and despite it having an online 24/7 Shipment, the new ones don't have it, but only in rotation, and I just think that's fucking stupid. No, it was Shipment. It was... Russ is okay, I guess. When at the time I did play Modern Warfare 2, when the servers came out, because I wanted to get to level 70, I have not ran into that mode in the matches I played, which I believe was mainly TDM or Domination, because at least you don't have to think as hard, and I don't really like the super hard modes like Search and Destroy or Headquarters. At least it's not on a rotation basis, so people who want to play them can play them, but they're not for me. But if Call of Duty actually had bots and shit, like what Black Ops 3 or what Ghost introduced, I'll be playing them a lot more. I know technically Black Ops had introduced it, but the modes we were able to pick up from were extremely limited. I don't know if Black Ops 2 was much different, but I know Modern Warfare 3 had that mode where it was kind of like a mixture of domination, but you got care packages as a reward and shit, and you could just like go legitimately crazy with it. And I believe Ghost has that mode too, in a proper form. And I think Ghost even has a remake of Shipment as well, which is ironic. Since people hate that game for some reason. And probably for a reason. Anyway. Oh yeah, I gotta disband because I gotta deliver that vehicle. and then I'll find something to do. I'll probably do some Xenoverse 2 level grinding. I gotta get the rest of the skills from the TP shop. No, Beavis, not those TPs. Get out of here. Anyway. Let me just check something really quick. I bet Kasatsuka's the spawn point. Good job. Yeah, I'm just checking something right now. Oh, I know what I can do. Well, technically I'm playing GT Online, but I'm playing in an invite-only session, so I don't know if that really counts, to be honest. At least I'm not bothered by people, because I know people kind of grief a lot in GTA, which is technically the point, but it's not like in GTA 4 everyone is just kind of more or less balanced, and you don't have to worry about losing money because you have to wait for a sale or some shit. So, it's, I guess in that aspect, it's, I know it's part of the game, but I also know that with GTA Online specifically, being griefed while doing a sell mission is just obnoxious as fuck. Especially how Rockstar pushes microtransactions and shit. And I would not be surprised if they did that with GTA 6. I actually went a pretty big rant during the last stream where I talked about it when I was also playing GTA Online. Anyway, I'll just deliver this and I'll find the thing I was looking for. I'll check in the bail office and then I'll do some Xenoverse 2, I guess, assuming you'll be staying around. Having some company while leveling up will be a win-win for everybody, I hope. I know Red Dead Online is also a thing, but I know that there's no invite-only session, so you can be griefed at any point in time, and plus the money making on there is a lot more harder. But if there was a way to actually play completely solo, you would have to deal with being kicked due to it being inactive, I would give it a fair chance, but I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm sorry. I refuse. I know the game map is significantly bigger, but I just don't see why people can just play the game in invite-only sessions or whatever, or friends only. Red Dead Redemption does not have that feature. Or actually, no, Red Dead Online. I know that even Red Dead Redemption on the 360 and PS3 you do exactly that. And then GTA 4 did the same shit, except there wasn't a leveling up system, so everyone could grief and be on a mostly even level, I guess. With the worst a criminal offense is that the aiming on PC was a little easier, I guess. I don't know. There's some change in the PC version that made aiming weird or some shit. Anyway, let me switch to a different game. Like, if I want to deal with griefers, I can just play something like Dark Souls or something. At least you don't have to worry about losing as much. But that's another ordeal entirely. But anyway, I'll switch over to Xenoverse 2, I guess. Hopefully it'll be sticking around for a little while longer, at least. Let me just check something. Yeah, unfortunately, this game takes a little while to boot up, but I'll definitely switch it back when it's good and ready. Like, even playing something like Fortnite wouldn't excite me because this game is like Little Big Planet for all the creative shit. I mean, sure, you can't download levels anymore, but you can still create shit in it. Or even want to get my third-person gameplay fix. I can just play Ghost Recon Wildlands if I want to have enemies infighting, and just play Watch Dogs 2. Or even playing Saints Row the Third, or even Saints Row 4. I feel that those games at least mainly perfected the simple yet effective third-person gameplay that a lot of games can't even capture properly. I hate how people say that Saints Row 4 is mad corny for having superpowers and shit, but what the fuck does Fortnite have? Obviously not negating the criticism that Saints Row 3 and 4 have, but it's, like, if I want to play stupid, silly shit, I'll just play Saints Row 4. Get Out of Hell I would have liked, but they took out too much of the customization shit. They actually made the flying the best that the series had seen, in my opinion, or at least a major improvement compared to what the hell was it? Saints Row 4, because in Saints Row 4 wasn't really much of flying, just kind of gliding. But they definitely did tone down a lot of the other stuff that made Saints Row worth playing, and I don't like that. I think that was mad lame. And yes, I know I made a typo on saying. No need to point it out. I can see why people enjoy the Battle Royale, but it's just not for me. I don't even like Battle Royale in games, period. The only exception, though, is like elimination modes in games that have a certain amount of lives. Or in something like Burnout, where you go through a lap, but every person that's in last place gets eliminated after a lap. Now that's exciting. This Hunger Games shit that a lot of games do nowadays, I just do not care for. I haven't played it, and it does kind of suck that the Last of Us Part 1, whatever remake, didn't include it. I know Uncharted had a multiplayer mode, but unfortunately the Blue Point remaster didn't include it. And I don't know if the servers are up for the PS4 version of The Last of Us. I know there was a whole bunch of hoopla with a Last of Us multiplayer mode, but we already got one with when the game first came out, so just play that or some shit. I'm sure it was interesting, but honestly, I don't even like The Last of Us. I don't even consider it a traditional video game. I think it's one of the most overrated games of all time, and the fact that people are slandering Kojima simply because he makes movie games is fucking dumb to me. But I don't know if I should get into that or not. It was certainly interesting, and I guess it makes sense from the narrative point of the story. But I don't really like The Last of Us. Genuinely an overrated game series that people glaze way too much. If we're going by modern slang, I completely hate it. I'd rather play Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. At least it's based off a game that's good. It's just the people who made it did not translate the gameplay proper, honestly. It's like, we'll take the gameplay from Metal Gear Solid 2 and import the level design from Metal Gear Solid 1, but not adapt it to make it worthwhile, I guess. Like, when Konami made Metal Gear Solid 2 with the additions they made, they had to think carefully of how to make the gameplay work in Metal Gear Solid 2 with the new changes. The people who made that, I think it was the same people who made that one horror game that people talk about a lot, Eternal Darkness or something. They did not take any lessons in how to change shit. It's also a very divisive game too, especially due to the voice acting delivery. And despite the game series being made from Japan, the Japanese version does not include a Japanese dub, but there was a special bonus disc which does include a Japanese translated version of Metal Gear on NES. A really shitty version of Metal Gear that was made on the NES and not the MSX version. That's kind of pathetic. At least it was, at least it saves in there, unlike the password system, but it's still a really shitty version of an otherwise heavily dated game. Metal Gear 2 is a lot better. Though assuming you know how to go through the original Metal Gear, it's certainly a lot more digestible compared to Metal Gear 2. And that's mainly due to the one part in Metal Gear 2 to go through a swamp twice, because there's a boss you have to go to fight, and there's a path you have to take, and it's very specific, and it's really annoying. And it's also annoying because there's no checkpoints between the swamp area and then having to go through it again after fighting the boss. And not to mention the part beforehand where you have to follow a dude, and if you mess up at any point, you gotta start the whole thing over again. There's not even a way to skip it either, quote unquote. But speaking of skip, I gotta go use the bathroom, so I'm gonna go ahead and place. I'm gonna go ahead and put. I'm just gonna put the BRB thing up. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully to make you wait long enough. Anyway, I don't know if you deal with Discord, but if you do, I highly encourage joining it so you can continue conversations in a much more safer haven. If not, then at least subscribing would do me good. Even though YouTube is really shit at notifications for streaming, but it is what it is. Anyway, let me get this off the screen so I can go back to farming. So basically the meta of farming in Xenoverse 2 in particular is getting the customization key for Goku by training with him, but that requires beating the game. But just slapping on Super Saiyan 3 Ultimate Charge if you have the DLC that lets you get the skill from a parallel quest, and then just spamming the fuck out of bending Kamehameha, and then just fighting Vegeta over and over again. You should have no qualms with getting easy experience and even easy medals, because farming medals in this game is not very fun. And despite the user-generated names, these are all completely computer opponents, but just randomly generated names. Oh yeah, I think I remember that shit. Oh yeah, when I did the Twisted Metal guide, or at least tried to. Yeah, I remember that. I still feel kind of shitty for doing that, to be honest. But I'm mainly on that Discord server alongside with Darth Goldust and Mr. Machiavelli, I believe that his name is. I believe he came around when I was playing original Modern Warfare 2 that one day, and I've hit it off ever since. But yeah, YouTube is really shitty with live stream notifications. I don't know why, but it is what it is. It's not a very big server, but it's could always use more loyal people, I guess. Clearly care enough to watch me play an anime game for a good while, and even GTA Online despite my stance on it, so I must be doing something right. Or I woke up on the right side of the bed, I guess. I don't know. I do have some rants in the works, though, so I'll probably work on those. I know I'm going to be doing one talking about Pro Skater 3 Plus 4, though, especially with Activision basically confirming that they're moving career mode, which is fucking stupid. And not to mention the constant reminding of Doomslayer being in the game. That could be a whole other sub-rant within itself. But I don't want to spoil the goods so far. And plus extra to record footage of Pro Skater 4. And of course the PC version of Pro Skater 3, which does include Doom Guy, albeit the model from Quake 3 Arena, but it still counts. It's kind of ironic that that version on the PC is the only one without a 2-player mode, whereas every other PC port at least has it in some capacity. Which I find very suspect, to be honest. One other version that's probably worth playing at this point is the original Xbox version, because it not only comes with another exclusive character, but also an exclusive level. And I think there's also custom music support for that game too, or that version specifically. So, could jam to some that one song from Pro Skater 1 that people love so much. I wasn't really fond of the original remaster that they did because it was basically based on another version that Treyarch actually handed making. Yes, Treyarch. Where they combined Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And also having some extra levels thrown in there, and even having 4-player split screen. Which I think might be one of the very few Tony Hawk games that actually have such a thing. But, and it's not backwards compatible, unfortunately, which really sucks. And it's also based on the good Tony Hawk games, I guess, that people really like. I don't have much nostalgia for them, and even playing them again today, it just feels really weird to me. Also, I know the PvP in this game is extremely busted. I don't care for that whatsoever, but I guess to give Dragon Ball the benefit of the doubt, the fights have always been kind of one-sided, but that's not really the point. The point is that this game's PvP is about as sweaty or whatever compared to like actual games that people play a lot, but whatever. At least the PvE side is pretty good, but there is a lot of FOMO mentality and even just the monotonous grind this game comes with, but it's at least enjoyable for the most part, so I don't mind playing it. I've enjoyed playing through Xenoverse 1, it's just that the RNG drops are just as shitty. The ultimate finishes are completely random, which makes no sense to me, and some other factors that make it weird. I haven't played through Kakarot, but it being a pure single-player game that once again retells the stories of the three sagas, I just have no interest in those. Again, not going to try to crap on Toriyama's work, whatever, but there's so many Dragon Ball games based on the fucking three sagas. I mean, would it really kill to at least have a couple of creative ideas for once? At least the Budokai games had what-if stories, at least that was kind of interesting. And I think Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I know it's fighters, but, I mean, come on, we don't call Dragon Ball Dragon Balls. Whatever. At least Dragon Ball Fighter Z was based on an original story, and it actually had a character made just for the game, but then said character was eventually added into Xenoverse 2, ironically enough. And not even the good version, too, just a shitty lab coat version. Whatever. Let's see, this I can close because I don't need any more. I'm gonna guess you don't have Discord, which honestly is a bit of a bummer, but hopefully I'm entertaining you in the now. Yeah, it's understandable. I'm gonna guess you don't have Discord. I'm mainly on there, unless I'm not streaming. Usually around the time that you join is when I'm usually doing stuff. So don't be afraid to pop in. I just wish YouTube was better at notifying shit. But if not or refuse, I understand. Fair enough. Just keep an eye on those subscriptions, I guess. I don't know how to make it more, how the hell do you call it? Make it so that known to be live streaming. Because even, I've seen people eventually just make a video saying, oh, I'm going to be live streaming. It seems kind of weird to me, but I usually get to stream around this time anyway. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube is really weird. Even with that one friend I have that plays nothing but Fortnite, I don't get like a notification saying, oh, this person is live playing Fortnite. So I don't know. YouTube is really ass at notifications, but I'm glad I get to stream at the proper time and have some proper company. So hopefully we'll meet again soon. It's going to mainly be farming medals and experience. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention also that there's a super soul you can equip with Goku that basically gives you triple the experience, which definitely helps. You already get a decent XP boost by just beating the shit out of Vegeta. And of course, the other extra missions you have to go through to get to Vegeta. It's also Goku, but the arena is much more open. You have to be a little quicker. And I think he has more health too. Despite Vegeta's arena being having a condensed rocks in the way, it's more convenient, I guess. 5 minutes is plenty of time to destroy them either. But I know that this one is a little harder, but not much harder, and this one is pretty standard. A lot of the extra missions are kind of bullshit, but they're worth doing just to get to this one. It's the most consistent XP and metal farming if you don't want to put in a lot of work. Even learning how to fight Janemba was kind of fun, but you have to be on your toes at all times. I don't want to be on my toes at all times. I just want to get experience and medals. And I think the last one gives you 20, but it's that one can be a pain in the ass too, because you have to fight more than one person. But yeah, it's I'll probably do this for a little bit, and I'll probably get off. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to get much more traffic at this hour. But that's fine. At least it wasn't for nothing. Alright. Go ahead and close some tabs first of all. Not sure what this one is, so I'll just leave it alone. Yeah, so it was great talking to you. I hope we get to have more conversations. We're gonna have more hellos and not so many goodbyes. Just like in that one Charlie Brown movie that's kind of depressing, that one scene for reasons. If you know, you know. Yes. Very funny. It is technically true though, but it's such an out of character moment even for Charlie Brown back then. So that's like the only memorable part in the movie too, because most of it was just Snoopy wanting to like live with his original master, or whatever, or owner. And then that part where they just have that going away part, it was just like the most depressing shit out of nowhere. Like it literally comes out of nowhere. And then right after that, it's just back to normal. It's like, what the fuck? But the message is definitely there. Like, you need more hellos and not goodbyes. But it's just it's just in the wrong movie, I think. Yeah. I would play it, but I don't know how YouTube would detect it. I know a couple of streams I've done, there was technically copyrighted material. And then another video I did, I got it partially blocked because I used one of George Michael's songs, so I don't know. Probably a good thing is you play games of music off, like with Borderlands. I mean, I guess the atmosphere helps, but it's I don't know. It's just one of those games I play with the music off by choice. Let's see. I know this isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but it does give results, so there you go. I forgot what that link is for. I have to look for the history of this, because I want to see how this came to be. Probably might have cleared history, though. So I'm going to probably have to do some Twitter searching, or however you call it. Yes, the state of play from February 25 was a fucking joke. I forgot why I searched that up, to be honest. And there's a bunch of other shit that's not worth mentioning. Shit. Well, yeah, usually once there's at least one bar left, you can kind of leave the AI to it, though you still kind of want to try to get a good ranking so that you can get the experience. If you're going for medals, it's fine, but obviously since you want to get a high level, you definitely want to make sure you have, I think having an ultimate finish helps, but there's also a lot of other factors that determines whether you get that rank or not. You'll get 60 medals regardless, but if you wanted XP, you kind of can't be affording to dawdle, unfortunately. I guess I can close. This I can close. Yeah, some sort of Power Stone ROM hack or whatever. Steam login I can get rid of. Paul and Josh got suspended on the XCOM, by the way. It's kind of disappointing. This I can get rid of. This I can get rid of. Not sure what this is. It's probably something that's probably not even there anymore. It's also in a completely separate tab too, so I'll figure something with it, I guess. Yeah. Shit, footage fucked up. I'll fix it. I swear I've seen this post somewhere. This fucking post from whatever the fuck this account is called. I can't see it because the fucking name is being blocked. Whatever. I'll have to fix it again, probably. Whatever. Yeah, let me fix the Elgato again. It's fucking up again. Virginia's at 1 health bar anyway, so should probably go down with little problems at this point. He's still not dead. Well, there you go. There we go. He's dead. God. Alright, I don't know how many medals I have. I should probably get that one skill, and I'm probably going to get off. I'll probably do some quick farming, quote-unquote, in Salt and Sacrifice, because I want to at least be ready for that, but I don't know how. I'll probably just do some Ashpire farming, I guess, so I can get the armor of choice I'm going to use. I'm probably going to use that class 1 heavy armor I found. I think it's a starting armor from one of the classes, but you can find it later on. And I'm also going to find that one weapon do you get as a cleric. Always useful to have a extra healing item on you, I guess. But I don't remember where it is. I'm going to probably have to look up a video for it, so I'm probably going to do that. Alright, Divine Lasso. Here we go. I don't know who that's from. I just want the damn skill. And then the last thing I'll probably have to get is maybe the rest of, what the fuck's her name? Supreme Kaimatai's Cloves, because she is the best lolly in the Dragon Ball universe. Going at me. Alright. Yeah, I'm not bothering with gifts, they're fucking pointless. The only one I bother with is, what the hell is it called? The final Dragon Ball Z gi, because without the, QQ bangs, it gives you a +3 on everything, which is insanely good. And plus, it just looks kind of alright. And it's not just for show, so I don't care. But I also need to farm more Dragon Balls so that I can get the rest of the stuff that's normally one time from Shenron, including the Crystal Battle Suit, which I already have, and I gotta get the gold version, and then I gotta get some other shit. I know that this was the pre-order outfit from Xenoverse 1, but even transferring it in this one is just not worth it. Fucking hated that shit, by the way. We're not gonna really get into that. Alright. I guess to do some very quick customization, quote unquote. Make like the most unoriginal outfit ever. Oh, not King Kai. Here we go. Alright, now we're talking. There we go. Oh, I got my Morpheus spilled on. Well, alright, that's enough of this for now. I'm gonna go do something else, I guess.